In this lesson, I'm going to share with you a hybrid combination of techniques that I like to use to influence some more creative ideas for grooves and for compositions. And it combines elements of traditional slap bass playing with elements of classical flamenco style plucking. And what we're going to be doing is using the thumb or the slap or thump portion of our slap playing and combine that with the upstroke movements of flamenco style playing using combinations of our first, second, and third fingers of our plucking hand. Now, before we get into it, let me play you a few excerpts from some of my own compositions that demonstrate the use of this technique. Now, the way this technique works is we're going to be using combinations of groups of 2 notes, groups of 3 notes, and groups of 4 notes for the first part of this lesson. And the 2-note combinations are going to incorporate the downstroke of the thumb, the actual slap motion, with the upstroke coming from the first finger of our plucking hand. So if I was going to play an A, 5th fret E string, and use this particular combination, this is how I would play it. I'd go down with the thumb and then up with finger 1. So we're going to be playing on the same string each time. So this is very much like a pick-based approach, where we would have a downstroke and an upstroke with a pick. Or those of you that are familiar with the double thumbing technique for bass playing, this is very much like the double thumbing approach, where we would go down to play the first note of the double thumb motion and then with the thumb go up. So that would be our 2-note combination with double thumbing. But with this particular technique, what we're doing is we're doing the downstroke with the thumb and the upstroke with the first finger. What I like about this is it keeps the hand in a very closed position, which is a very relaxed position for us, and allows us to move quickly across the different strings with ease. And once you get used to that sort of down, up type of approach, it becomes very, very natural, and you can blend it with other slap grooves that you might be playing, or you can actually blend it with finger-style grooves and just kind of go back and forth. But this is how that technique sounds. All right, and here's a little groove that you can play using the 2-note combination. 1, 2, 3. Another cool thing to do with the 2-note combination is to apply a swing or a shuffle type feel to it. So instead of just playing the very straight 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so on, you've got the swing 1 triplet, 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 so on. So that's kind of cool, and then you can apply that to bass line grooves, and it's kind of neat. If I was playing a blues, for example, 2, 3, 4. All right, so that's one way that you can use it to actually play something a little more musical than just an exercise. Now, of course, when you're first working on any new technique, it makes sense to step through more exercise-like patterns and approaches in order to get it under your fingers. You need to get the mechanics under your fingers really before you move on. But the lesson that I've learned over the years that really helps me to accelerate my abilities with any sort of a new technique is once I get the basics down, what I like to do is force myself to write a piece of music or write more of a compositional type of a piece with using that technique exclusively, so that I learn from the very beginning how to incorporate that into a more musical setting, because that's going to be a more realistic application of the use of any type of new technique that you're working on. Okay, so now we've covered the 2-note combination. Let's get into a 3-note combination. What this is going to do, this is going to take our downstroke from the thumb, that'll be our first note, and then the second note will come from the upstroke of the first finger, and the third note will come from the upstroke of the second finger. So I've got a thumb, 1, 2, thumb, 1, 2. And this gives us a really cool triplet, really cool triplet-based approach. All right, so that would be the 3-note combination. And here's an example of a little groove that you could play that would be based on the use of the 3-note combination. 1, 2, 3. Now let's move on to the 4-note combination, and this is just going to add another finger to what we've already been doing so far with the 2 and 3-note combinations. So we're going to use the thumb for the downstroke for the first note. Then we're going to use, for the second note, upstroke of finger 1, third note, upstroke of finger 2, fourth note, upstroke of finger 3. So I've got thumb, 1, 2, 3, thumb, 1, 2, 3, 4-note combination. All right, now here's an example of a groove that incorporates the 4-note combination. 1, 2, 3. So that forms the basis for this hybrid approach. And just to recap, once again, we're using our thumb for the slapped note as a downstroke, and then we're using combinations of our first, second, and third fingers in upstrokes. And when you practice these, it's good to start them at very, very slow tempos, so you get very slow, very deliberate, very even dynamics between each one of the notes. That's one thing that's going to be very, very important. You're going to learn very quickly, is that you want to try to get the notes all getting the same dynamic, the same volume level out of all of them, so it sounds very, very smooth. You don't want to play one note and have the other be soft, or just have them, randomly jump dynamics. One thing that I love to do with this is take each of the combinations and just kind of place them back to back. So you could do something like this, where you have a click, and I do a 2-note combination followed by a 3-note combination followed by a 4-note combination. So it'd be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, as I'm playing this, what I'm playing is the combinations that break this down into the respective grouping of 2, 3, and 4. So if I was to call out what I'm actually playing as I'm playing the same combination, it would go like this: 3, 4. Thumb 1, thumb 1, 2, thumb 1, 2, 3. Thumb 1, thumb 1, 2, thumb 1, 2, 3. Thumb 1, thumb 1, 2, thumb 1, 2, 3. So on and so on and so on. So change up the combinations. Try to practice, swapping those out in different orders. You could start with the 3, followed by a 2, followed by the 4. You could change that order around as you like, but you want it to be seamless. When you change from one grouping to another, it needs to be very, very natural. And as you build grooves, you're going to see that you're going to have to rely on combinations of those different fingering orders in order to make them cycle and flow in a very predictable and grooving fashion. So have some fun with that, and we will see you next time.